Convicted serial killer Richard Ramirez seemed to relish the concept of evil, and once upon a time, a lot of folks in the state of California viewed the one-time Texas altar boy as evil's human embodiment. In the summer of 1985, the Texas drifter descended like a deadly disease on a hot California night. A one-man epidemic of madness and murder, one of America's first serial killers to be given a brand name, the Night Stalker. He preyed on both women and men, young and old. He slipped through windows, slit throats, raped, tortured, and killed. But in court, the case dragged on for 4 long years, with the Texas drifter frequently disrupting the proceedings by displaying satanic signs and shouting obscenities at the judge.
This trial is a joke.
At the time, Ramirez was certainly a guy attracting a lot of attention. Since his arrival at the San Francisco jail, women from around the country, including one of the female jurors who had found him guilty in Los Angeles, had been flocking to the San Francisco facility, even fighting with each other over Richard's affections.
I have friends.
Who are you?
Just a guy. Just a guy.
My dudes, my homies, if there's one thing I know about people who watch this channel, is that they're very educated. They have insights. They're worldly. They know what's going on in the world. They have looked through Wikipedia and have enriched their knowledge. And with an audience like that, I know you guys have immediately spotted the image behind me. That's right, guys. This is the Hindu goddess of cucks. You see this kind of an amulet made out of cuck heads here. Different cucks. This cuck, paid for her dinner. This one gave her oral and got nothing in return. This big fucking cuck right here did. She has so little respect for him. She has smeared him in fucking menstrual blood, or maybe it's yogurt from Whole Foods. Who knows? This is what's going on here. It's a total slaughter, a total fucking submission to some kind of broad with strange skin color from fucking Tumblr. This is what happens, man, when you get carried away. This is where you end up. However, as we consider this gallery of cucks here, the one person you don't see is, of course, Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez went from zero to hero, and he didn't go that way through a cheap way. He didn't just take the easy route, like, running over people with a cargo van. He took initiative. He broke into a home of an elderly couple, and he killed the husband, and then he raped an 80-year-old woman who had a stroke. And so this is the kind of thing he did. Now, eventually, unfortunately, this alpha got caught, and once he got caught, turns out that he had a certain kind of dark Latin sort of a rapist elf appeal that women really went for. And I mean, this stuff is amazing, how much attention he got from the ladies once he went alpha. There was a woman in Europe who changed her last name to Ramirez. There were models in Italy sending him money. There were women coming in to visit him at the prison, and in the meeting room they would not be wearing any underwear and would show him a peek as he was masturbating. There was a gallery of women who, a group of women who came to his trial, and they sat all together, and some of them have experienced kind of spontaneous orgasms when the gory nature of his crimes were described, and knowing that he was so dangerous, and yet so close, and yet wasn't able to harm them, really kind of turned these ladies on. They really went for Ramirez. And so what can we learn from this story? Well, rape is subjective, but we already knew that. It's time to take initiative, my dudes.
You have now entered a very rare group of people in this country. You're in the ranks of Charlie Manson, Ted Bundy. You claim you didn't commit these murders, but you're right in there now as far as everybody else is concerned.
Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times. Even psychopaths have emotions if you dig deep enough, but then again, maybe they don't.
So anyway, back in the day, I worked at the call center for the unemployment office in the state of Washington, and people would complain a lot to our supervisor, you know, about the working conditions and the workload, and she'd always say, you know, you have an issue, have a solution, like you have a complaint, have something constructive and productive to offer. Like, and that's why I offered like an example of Richard Ramirez to any lonely kind of guys out there who aren't getting any, you know, it's just a pathway to success, because he really was a hobo. He would just listen to AC/DC, talked about Satanism, everybody thought he was a freak, and then he took like a 1, 2, 3 step program to just becoming kind of the sinister Mexican elf everybody wanted to fuck. It's something to consider, my man. Today we're exploring incel message boards. We're gonna look at what's going on there. Now, how did I decide to undertake this initiative? Why did I decide to look through incel message boards?
The journey towards making this video has been weird.
The thing about it is that I actually didn't. And I actually didn't look through them at all. Instead, like a parasite, I've just cut out clips of a lady who looked at them, and then I can remark on the lady and remark on these messages, on these statements on these boards, without really having to do shit. This is kind of like, this lady's video was suggested to me, and I said, fuck it, it looks kind of interesting. And then I started listening to her going over these messages, and I said, hey, this is some crazy shit. This is, you know, there's something here. There's a certain gem here that could be analyzed. Now, if you look at this lady, Strange Eons, I think Aeons, whatever, she just decided for some weird merger of letters for the name of her channel, Strange Eons. Yeah, she's really cool. She's really a kind of a cool chick. You know, you can look at this girl and say, hey, you know, wouldn't it be cool to have a relationship with her? She's so accessible. She's so cool. She's so open, and just, she's kind of on the left, but she's also kind of, you know, not afraid of the edgelord, not afraid of breaking with the social justice warrior conventions and such. What a cool chick. You know, dude, well, it's not gonna happen, man. You're not gonna hold hands with her in IKEA. You're not gonna, there are no fucking gravy for your IKEA meatballs here, my man. Because she's not interested in vitamin D. She is a lesbian. Now you could say, whoa, like a sexist would say something like that. Oh, she's too attractive to be a lesbian. It's not something that I would ever say, but I can completely agree. But in any case, she's a really cool person and very cool presentation. Like, I'm bad at reading shit. English is my second language. I sound very monotone with it when I read. But with her, it's different. Nah, she's just dynamic and cool. Kind of sexy. Still a lesbian, maybe she's not, you know.
Videos of people going through the incel subreddit were really popular for a while. I've seen a lot of them. So I didn't really want to make another video that was exactly like that. So since the incel subreddit was banned and the subsequent subreddits that they tried to set up were banned, the incel community now primarily exists on their website.
In addition to not getting laid, the incel community has managed to become the total banished people. The incel community now are the Jews of medieval Europe. Motherfuckers, we know you have the blood of cargo Jesus on your hands, motherfuckers. You know, away you go, you pieces of shit, to the fucking Polish server, and then we're gonna find and crush you there.
So I was planning to do a video looking into that website, really similar format to my Tumblr deep dive videos, and the night before I was gonna film it, I had an encounter with this kind of creepy, incel-y sort of guy on the street when I was walking home from work around like 2 a.m. I got out of it without being stabbed, gave him a fake number. You know, I thought that's weirdly relevant. I can talk about that in the video. And just a side note, I've seen men criticize women who give men fake numbers instead of just outright declining them.
Hey Jessica, remember that dance we did outside of the bar when I asked for your number? And you were like, my number is so easy to remember, it's 1-800-GEICO. And I was like, hey, I don't even need to write that down. The whole thing turned out to be a lie.
I will only resort to that with the type of men that don't know how to hear the word no. Like, when guys hit on me on the street, most of the time they're really normal, sweet guys. I've even made a friend that way before. Like,
cock.
if a guy talks to me on the street, I'm not going to antagonize him right off the bat. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to thank him for complimenting me. But if he turns that into hitting on me, I'm going to make it clear that I'm not available. So, and if they don't know how to hear the word no, I'm going to do whatever I have to get out of that situation, because that's a huge red flag. So you never feel bad about giving a guy a fake number if you feel like you're in danger. Absolutely do that if you feel like you just need out of that situation. After that happened to me, the van attack in Toronto, where I live, happened. I didn't want it to feel like I was exploiting that situation. Besides, I visited the Incel website to see what kind of opinions were coming from the incel community on one of their own murdering 10 people, and there was overwhelming support for it. So I just felt like I was too irrationally angry at these people to make a coherent, good video. Because I didn't really want to make a video full of posts supporting mass murder in the name of people not wanting to have sex with you.
People in this day and age are brainwashed and programmed like a computer at being nothing more than puppets.
So we're going to try to do a relatively level-headed look into the incel community today. We're going to do a serious video. We can do it. I can do it. So the website is called incels.me. This one says, women would rather be with dykes than ugly men. I hope so. That would work out fine for me. It's not Chad that's fucking her. It's a dyke. Cunts would rather be in an abusive relationship with an ugly dyke than in a loving one with an ugly man. Okay.
No cunts. Do you remember that song from The Doors, A Spy in the House of Love? Well, you're gonna be a spy trapped in the muff of a fat dyke. These dykes are so huge, they create their own gravitational field. Now, when she turns around on her bed and you're sleeping next to her, you're gonna be suffocated like a baby. It's always it's like, hey, you know, my dyke girlfriend, what are you wearing today? Plaid. Fucking plaid every day, man. It's like Kurt Cobain never killed himself. Whereas a cunt can always find a home in my sensitive nature.
Sexual violence within lesbian relationships was found to be as high as 55%.
Now, there are two issues that really pull on my heartstrings. And the first one is the total oppression and genocidal actions against the Myanmar Rohingya Muslims, the way they're being oppressed and persecuted by the Buddhist majority. This is not what religion is about. This is not what citizenship is about. It really is disgusted, and I'm completely disappointed, and my heart is broken by the whole thing. And now the second issue that is really close to me, that really is super important to me, is of course the abuse of lying cunts by vile dykes. It's something that I have the statistics and everything, you know, and for how long can this go on? You know, it's just, please go to my website, Stop the Dyke. Go to my website, Stop the Dyke. After all, anybody can slap around a cunt, and really the dykes should stop.
Have you ever considered adopting strong religious beliefs, which essentially fully support, in most cases, the removal of both intense love and all desire from your life? Zen Buddhist here. Alright, fill the void with Zen Buddhism, as long as you're not murdering anyone. I am a devout traditional Lutheran. It's one of the reasons I have not... You probably meant raped. Probably meant raped.
I can tell you a little bit about Satanism.
Well, I'm interested in hearing what you got to say then.
It is undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. It is power without charity. A Satanist admits to being evil.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
I'm asking you the questions, my friend.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil.
One is called Don't You Despise Pregnant Women? I do. I hate that they're treated as if they matter, and that you are expected to get up and give them your seat so that they won't have to stand. Why show respect to a woman who's carrying another man's child?
Incels are one of those few unique communities on the internet that are basically impossible to troll. Meaning that you can't there's no ad absurdum to them. Like, you can't make up a statement too absurd that it would be insulting to them, because they would just take it as a natural thing. It's like if you say, like, if I go on there and say, I wish to put some gasoline into a tampon, into a cunt, and then light it up like a fuse so her pussy gets burned, like, they would be, oh, that's reasonable.
Maybe because being pregnant is physically difficult, and there's nothing wrong with having a little empathy and helping someone out. Also, when they announce it and everyone congratulates them, what the fuck? You're literally congratulating a woman. What? All pregnant women deserve to fall down a flight of stairs and lose their baby.
Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, people, and ages, it is a rule. Killing is killing, whether done for duty, profit, or fun.
Even then, their pain wouldn't come close to our pain. Okay, yeah, getting injured and potentially losing your child is nowhere near as traumatic as having women not want to have sex with you. I must admit, it's very tempting to sucker punch them in the stomach. How pathetic do you have to be?
I, for one, prefer to live in the real world. And in the real world, if you sucker punch a woman in the stomach, you're going to get into some legal consequences, and it's not going to be good for you. It's just a stupid thing to do. The normies they're going to pounce on you. So instead, what I do on my days off is I go to this local nursing home, and sometimes I see these old cunts shuffling around with dementia. I just walk around there and trip them up a little bit, give them an old trip.
This bitch that rejected me. And you posted a picture of this girl's selfie, okay? I remember when I saw her at my old job, I tried to strike up numerous attempts in talking to her. She was mean and cold, and I was wondering what I did wrong for her to act like that towards me. Then I realized it was because of my face. Hoes can sense when you want the pussy. They think it's an audacity that a low-value man dared to approach them. There's not enough information about this situation for me to, have an opinion.
Oh no, baby, there's way more than enough information here. So what if it was your face? What if it really was your stupid face that she rejected? Now, this is the thing that I really hate about incels. You might find it shocking that sexism and horrible misanthropy doesn't get to me. I think it's wrong, ladies. I never call a lady a cunt. I never do. But that's not it. That's not at the core of the issue for me. At the core of the issue is this. I mean, check this out. Check out the picture that he posted of her. Now, maybe it's a real one, maybe it's a fake one, but the one thing about her is that, she's conventionally attractive. And yet you are outraged by the fact that she rejected you because you're not conventionally attractive. So what is going on here, dude? You fucking piece of shit. It's so easy to hate the world. It's much harder for these pieces of shit to hate themselves. And frankly, I do wish that they commit suicide if this is their sourpuss attitude. I mean, what is with this shit? Can't you just admit your own vanity? How can you be so outraged by the fact that she rejected you potentially based on the very same standards that have triggered you into liking her in the first place?
And then there's just a whole bunch of degrading comments about this girl, as you would expect. This one is called Do You Hate Teenagers? I just can't stand teenagers more than any population group. It's like this, people always remind me of my miserable and lonely youth years. I just can't stand watching them have fun in the world, being carefree and enjoying youth to the utmost. I want to kill myself every time I see a happy group of teenagers walking down the street. It's unbearable. When I see something like this, I want to boil myself alive. And it's just, it looks like a stock image of a bunch of high school kids just chilling. They're just so miserable and selfish that they hate seeing other people happy. Teenagers, pregnant women, if your life is going great, then you personally offend me if you have a happy life.
I can relate to that one, but not to the same degree. Like in my case, the only time I feel slighted by the sight of teenagers is when they're actually like physically attractive and they just kind of look like they jumped out of like Abercrombie and fucking Finch ad. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, when they're just very like, you know, they just look around, they prounce around like they're so fucking sterile. Like they're just kind of, you know, this is what we are. We're the kind of peak animals. We just fuck all the time. And but thankfully, you know, since I live in Ohio, that side is kind of scarce. Everybody's kind of more on the heavy side. I just look at different decrepit people out of the windows of my cargo van as I drive around, so I'm not really confronted with these upsetting sights of psychologically and bodily, you know, healthy teenagers here.
Unfuckable women don't go on killing sprees. It's true. It's true. What's the most low ambition act you ever committed? All I can think of is the time I turned off the lights in a public bathroom when someone was in there taking a shit. I've legit had that happen to me twice, and it felt so good to do it to someone else. I feel like as innocent of an example as this is, it is an insight into the incel mentality in some way. It really is.
Any moral judgment aside, these people are really determined to go down this insane spiral of just kind of circle jerk spiral of continuously exposing their pathetic lives. It's just like the littlest kind of petty shit they just drudge up out of themselves and present to others so they can behold it. After just kind of highlighting the fact that he turns off lights when people are shitting, like this is something that is acceptable to admit here. After these kind of petty aggressions and the sharing of these pathetic acts, after this isn't enough, then it's just keep these fuckers away from fucking guns and cargo vans, because this is amazing what's going on here.
The age pill is killing me. I'm 25, turning 26 in August. I can't even begin to describe the feelings of panic, depression, loneliness, and terror that I feel. I am a virgin incel, menial job. It feels like just yesterday I was 21, 22, and my 20s had just begun, and now all of a sudden I'm an older guy to prime girls, and can't blend in at a college campus. Oh no! Mid-20s virgin creep. Can't get those prime girls on the college campus. What a tragedy. Society is going downhill.
Now, he didn't call anybody a cunt. He didn't fantasize about kicking pregnant women in the stomach. So I'm not really sure why she's specifically judgmental of this guy. I mean, yeah, being 25, you're not that old, and describing like 25-year-old women as not prime. It's stupid, dude. You're a fucking retard. You're a fucking piece of shit. Fucking 25, man. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. But aside from that, he has a point. And the point is precisely because he is on this message board, even though he's young, things are not going to look up for him. I think he's just kind of entered the, you know, they just put a huge stigmata onto themselves. They literally just put themselves into a ghetto. You know, they kind of herd themselves into this ghetto. And I think once you've entered it, once you've logged into the site and thought, this is reasonable, your life is fucked. So this guy definitely had some insights and should not have been mocked.
I hate watching movies that there are characters younger than me engaging in sex or romance. Yes, love to engage in some sex sometime. The way these people talk is just kind of funny. It's just kind of funny. But yeah, he sold his Bitcoin in 2012, he regrets things, whatever. Okay, it's completely normal to have anxiety about getting old without having achieved anything. I can empathize with this to some degree. Feels bad, man. Have you considered seeing an escort? Yeah, all your problems, all your problems will be, all your problems will be solved if you have sex with a prostitute. I mean, solve all your problems, all your life anxiety.
Men murdered themselves into this democracy.
I've come close to seeing one, and I likely will at some point, but I don't see them as much more than masturbation aids because I can't afford one that will give me a realistic girlfriend experience. I assume that means as soon as I start to be like, okay, I can understand that anxiety a little bit. It just goes back down to hell.
Another thing you really shouldn't mock, baby. Another thing you shouldn't mock. You see, this whole insane community, you're kind of just trivializing sex here. oh, what's gonna happen if he bangs a whore? Well, listen, this whole fucking message board came about, this whole community, and now people have died in the name of this. Of men not getting laid. That's the whole foundation. And so if one of these fucknuts actually fucks a whore, there is a possibility that his lizard brain will not discriminate and will not really calculate into its computation that that money has been exchanged here for favors. And if he really gets a full girlfriend experience, there is a possibility that he will fucking just relax. Because I mean, now I don't have these types of experiences, but I really have kind of strange, like, sexual fantasies, to be honest, that I just want to get rid of. I'm not gonna go into details, nothing too crazy, but and it's just like, and it's just always amazing to me when why am I speaking about this? Oh fuck it, it's already running. When a release occurs, when it's just kind of strange how like everything in my mind is reconfigured, and it's just poof into the air, and this kind of bizarre intensity that has been dominating me sometimes for some time. Okay, well, like, I mean, like, for an hour or so, let's say, it just kind of goes away. And yeah, so I mean, I think that if there's a kind of a blue ball pressure here, that there is a potential that a whore could kind of relax some of these guys out of this shit.
Chad was not good enough. Jessica Clements is a model. She made a name for herself by being pretty. She used to date a male model Chad named Eric Conover. If you watch their old YouTube videos, he seems to be a really nice guy, the sort of guy who was too nice perhaps. Still the ultimate Chad and literal male model. Problem, he wasn't more successful than her, so she had to get a more established male model. Moral of the story, Chad is not enough. Even Angelina Jolie dumped Brad Pitt. That has to go back to him because no one better What? Okay, I was getting a little bit of deja vu reading that, and that's because I saw basically the same shit in my MGTOW video. Just completely ignoring the fact that these people are real people with deep issues that go beyond how hot and successful are they. Like, do you not understand that there are complex human emotions involved in creating a relationship beyond, like, just have you talked to a human? Have you left the house in the past while? I'm genuinely asking.
Shut up, cunt. Only a stupid idiot will not see that the prime bitch has rejected the Chad. The prime bitch has rejected the Chad. When they started the relationship, she perceived him as an alpha, but then she realized that there's more on the alpha ladder that she can climb until menopause in her prime years. Okay?
And also, in a way, doesn't this just prove their whole black pill mentality of, like, everything is pointless because if I'm not a Chad and I don't have money, no girl will ever want me? Doesn't this prove that just having those things isn't enough? You also have to have a decent personality and a decent, healthy relationship for something to work out. 2 weeks ago, this was completely laughable, and now, like, 20 minutes away from where I live, 10 people get murdered because of this shit. This is the world that we live in, and I don't know what to do about it except drink my stupid aloe and hate everything.
Evil has always existed. The perfect world most people seek shall never come to pass, and it's going to get worse. The great epochs of our life is when we gain the courage to rebaptize our evil qualities as being our best qualities.
Is Utah, aka Mormonville, incel paradise? Is it? Without a doubt, Salt Lake City is the least degenerate place in the U.S. Strongly Mormon morals, high restrictions on hard liquor. Is this the incel promised land? Seems like my best bet at finding a loyal virgin bride, or at least rotting in peace without constant degeneracy triggering me.
You incel piece of shit. Already you're a member of an insane fucking forum composed of people who don't get laid. And now you want a fucking virgin bride? Are you fucking deluded, you motherfucker?
All homeless women in first world countries are voluntary homeless. They could literally install Tinder and find and invite a number of cucks in their local area who would gladly give her a place to stay. You know, just living with a creepy man who was so desperate he would let a homeless woman move into his house Sounds like a great option in life.
Everything is kind of very Lord of the Rings. Everybody is kind of categorized in these one-dimensional kind of fucking video game kind of races or characters. And in this kind of video game, an abusive male just doesn't fucking enter into the picture. Like, they literally, in this fictional universe, they literally do not exist. So it's like, of course, cucks and chuds, and of course they're like, if you're a homeless woman, of course, you know, the cuck, there's going to be a cuck for you there. Because it's almost like a programming C++ type language. Like, how could you possibly be homeless when there's a cuck waiting for you? When there's a 0 to your 1?
Every person died at the hands of Alec Manassian, that's the Toronto Vanity guy, and ER, that's, I think, Elliot Roger. There are 1,000 incels who have killed themselves alone.
There are people in Russia who have a very kind of cartoonish and condescending attitude toward America. And of course this happens all around the world. And you see, I don't particularly care so much about anti-Americanism as much as its quality. And most of it is just garbage. If somebody really kind of wants to make an anti-American argument, not that I would agree with it, but it could be structured in an interesting way. And so is kind of a sexist argument as well. I know I'm losing some of you. Not that I would agree with it, but at least like things that come out of intelligent people are interesting, even if they're ultimately stupid. If that makes any sense. Like, there's an intricate design to it. But anyway, fuck it, you know, I'm against sexism, I'm against racism, everybody knows this on this channel. I've never made an iffy joke here, you know, I'm just kind of against this shit. But in this case, it's just a bunch of fucking morons. Like, they're just a bunch of fucking idiots. And that's what pisses me off about it. It's just they have these, like, really simplistic structures, like, that any kind of fucking... anybody in high school could understand, these kind of categories, and they have convinced themselves that they have cracked the universe, and then they just have these pathetic forums where they just brag about the fact that they've turned on the lights on somebody who was taking a shit, and just this kind of pleb resentment. If somebody hates humanity, if somebody hates women or whoever, and they're intelligent, I don't have the kind of revulsion that I have here for these people, just because they're idiots. Like, it's just their hatred for the world that in some way I share. Mine is not focused on the ladies. It's just, they really kind of, not only do they insult women, they insult the glorious tradition of misanthropy and just hating other human beings. It makes me ashamed to be a misanthrope. Listening to this fucking bullshit, fucking virgin bride. It's just like they're fucking watching movies with attractive people making out, and they're like, oh, I don't belong here. Yeah, you don't belong. Maybe you are ugly, and only a woman in your overall category is gonna like you. Maybe that's it, dude, but stop fucking bitching about it. Stop bitching about it.
This nation, this country is founded in violence. Violent delights tend to have violent ends.
And the final piece of advice from Dad is this. The final piece of advice of Dad is this. If you're aiming higher than your social strata, go ahead and do it, dude. It's a game of odds. Like, you wonder, why is this girl with this dude? Why? Statistical anomaly. So go ahead and be that statistical anomaly, potentially, by just being active on fucking different dating sites, even the shit with pickup artists. It makes me vomit and I never would use it in my life, but if you need some structure to your interactions, it must be that some structures work better than others. Research that shit. If you really are consumed by this desire to have somebody way out of your league, and it's hypothetically possible, at least you increase your chances. At least it would be better than this shit, aiming to be the statistical anomaly. So anyway, my friends, that's that. Thank you for watching.
Do you have emotions, Richard?
No comment.
Tell me what kind of emotions you got going through you right now.
I'll tell you what, I gave up on love and happiness a long time ago.
Why?
I don't care to explain that. Let the quote stand for itself.